Hey, Julie.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
That last interview with Christie was awesome.
It
Talked
was.
about everything from fashion to bra sizes and undergarments, and now we're getting to fit and finish. So, this is part 2 of Rise Through Style Fashion Translate. So, Christy, let's jump into now. We talked about undergarments and bras, which I think is incredibly important. You talked about lace, which is really important to understand too. But then if we let's work bottom up. So let's talk bottoms, let's talk pants, let's talk rise of the waistline. Because you had said this in Julie's closet, literally, you said words out of your mouth, no woman should ever have a muffin top. Those
That's right.
don't actually
Muffin tops
exist.
don't exist. They don't exist.
So let's talk about that.
Okay, so first of all, you hear the muffin top thing all the time. And it really became prevalent when the low-rise jeans came around, which are trending once more. Rest in peace to all the women that are struggling with it. Oh my gosh, I can't stand them. But anyway, that aside, what ends up happening is women get muffin tops from jeans because for twofold reason. Number one, and the biggest reason, is because the rise of your pants is incorrect. And the reason for this is what ends up happening is in order for the jean to stay up, it has to grab somewhere on your body. So it kind of digs into the body so it doesn't slip off as you bend, as you move your legs, right, like dip and all the things. A lot of times what happens is women end up getting the wrong rise. And so it starts to dig in, it starts to create this to try and stay up so it doesn't slide off the body. You couple that with the fact that women also tend with a lot of the stretch denim that's out there when it's the wrong size because they feel it's. And so you've got a double whammy here where the jean's really starting to dig in little muffin top that happens as a result of that. And so if that's any of you listening, it just simply means that you probably have the wrong size and more importantly, the wrong rise to your jean. And so because if I were in your closet and I were to get the proper pant for you, and so it's not you, it's not your body that needs to change its shape. You don't need to lose weight. It's nothing like that. We just got to change the pant because it's not the right cut for you. And so one of the things that I recommend for women is to get out a measuring tape, and you can measure from the seat of your pant or the crotch and go and carry the measuring tape up to the smallest part of your waist. So this is usually just above your belly button. And for some women, you might be thinking, oh my God, that's going to be really high. Yes. Rise it up, baby. And so you want to take that measurement, and you'll find, depending on your body type, that you may swing anywhere between 9, depending again on whether you're petite, tall, everything in between, to 14 inches. And so it will be different on everyone. And so this is a measurement you want to be aware of when you're either in store. If you want to physically measure the jean, you can for the rise, or when you're online shopping, look and see what the rise measurement is, because most brands will provide department store and they're not carrying that information on their website. Simply Google the brand, do a separate search, and look up that denim individually and have a look at that, because it will make all the difference. And the nice thing is they know that the average waistline gets just a little bit smaller than the hip line traditionally. And so again, rather than you needing fits in, the pant will naturally follow that gentle curving at your waist. And so it can't expand enough to fall off your body. And so the muffin top's gone. We don't need to worry about her. She's a past thing. Yay. And so you don't need to have, and so you don't need to have the longer tops to cover that, or the jackets to cover it, or you don't need to worry about shirts being too tight where they're kind of tugging at your body and making you feel self-conscious. It's just the pant that's got to go. That's creating that in your life. We just need a higher rise, a better rise, and a better fit. Makes sense.
See, I knew you would knock that out of the park because you're so damn good at it. Like that's totally it. And I will tell you, Julie, in the right set of pants, I mean, let's be honest, your butt always looks good, always, but in the right set of jeans or right set of dress pants makes all the difference, because you're carrying yourself differently because you have more confidence in how it fit is. And I see that a lot in professional women where they don't carry themselves upright. They don't carry themselves confidently. and they could be one of the most confident, smartest women in the world. But if they're not comfortable in their own clothing, it projects hard, and it's not fair to them. I feel really bad. Men are the same way, though. I mean,
100%.
if I'm in an ill-fitting dress shirt, if I'm always tugging at it, if my belly's not fitting right, hence like the big push for true classic tees. This isn't a free promotion for you guys. But same thing. They basically have come out with a t-shirt that actually fits men better than just your standard square t-shirt that fits like crap. And it's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
It's not a weight issue. It's a gene issue. It's your
clothing
pant issue, which is just amazing.
Yeah.
And the same thing is for like tailored shirts too. Like shirts are designed to come in slightly with your chest, with the sides of your body, not sit there and be square and come out. So you'll see a lot of tailoring will bring sides in, bring jackets in, bring shirts in, but that allows that more slightly fitted look, which takes care of your silhouette, but more importantly, makes you look put together. And actually the shirt fits way better.
Like, and for anyone listening where they think, my gosh, some of this stuff sounds so overwhelming and the fit, and I don't really know what works for me, be gentle with yourself, because this is not something where we're pulled aside in school and it's like, hey, right? And so like anything, style is a tool. And so the more you invest in learning about this for yourself, the more confident you will become, and the more informed your purchases can be like down the road, which is really, it's empowering, but also impactful both for your wallet and the closet and image that you ultimately want to project for yourself. But to go to what you were saying, Skip, even for men, there's different cuts in terms of slim cut, regular cut, there's American cuts, European cuts. And so the more Euro style cuts for men, both in suiting and for their shirts, will be a little bit more tailored towards the silhouette. They're also the most fashion forward. Not that you need to be like super trendy or anything, but just they'll be a little bit more progressive looking, whereas typically more of the British and American cuts err a little bit more on the more rectangular, and they're a little bit more on the classic, but they'll definitely need a little bit more tailoring.
Yes, they will. And I found that with a lot of my shirts, like I'll buy classic cut shirts, or depending on what's going on, we can dive into that. Like I'd love to dive into male fashion with you at some point, because it's huge and it's an amazingly important topic. But having to buy certain shirts, but then knowing I'm going to pay more for tailoring to bring them into where they belong. And to do that. And it's really, really important to understand it, but to look that professional, that polished look. And I do it for myself. And I want to empower everybody out there listening. You need to do this for you. It's not for, I don't do it for Julie. Okay. I really don't. I don't wear certain fit, certain cut, certain shoes for my wife. I don't wear certain watches for my wife. I wear them for me, because it allows me to show up the way I want to show up. It allows me to show up the way I want to present myself, the way that I talk, the way that I want to feel. It's not about anybody else but myself. And when I see somebody that projects a lot of confidence and they command presence when they're around, not being like I'm here, you got to look at me, but they command presence as if they are in the situation, they're talking to you, they're engaged. They have a sense about them that they're very comfortable in their own skin, but it's more importantly, they're very comfortable in their own outfits.
100%. And I tell all men and women anyway, if you're not willing to do the extra step and get something altered, even though I know it can be a pain when you think, my God, like I just found the time to shop. How am I supposed to find the time to get something altered? Like I get it. But the thing is you will wear that piece so much more. Because the one thing I can say with absolute certainty is with all the men and women I've worked with over the years, every time they get something that fits well, there's this different moment in the mirror where it's like a pause and this, oh, like, damn, I look really good. And there's this feeling that comes with that where it's like, oh, my body's looking the way I know it can. And I'm finally seeing what I want to see in the mirror. And then there's this motivation that comes because the fit is on. So again, learning about what works for your shape, the fabrics that work for your shape, and all the things is huge. But when you can take it that extra step further while also mirroring that with alterations to nail that fit every single time, your closet suddenly will become so much more expansive, because rather than taking out a shirt and saying, oh, I like that, but that kind of makes my boobs or whatever look weird. Not today. I'm not going to wear that one today. And so you put it back and you're constantly searching for the next one that feels like relatively okay. If all the fit is good in your closet, and this is not a pie in the sky concept, it's just a matter of what versus having to go through pieces. So I don't want to wear that today, so I'll go to the next so item as a result.
And I think, Christie, you had mentioned when we met that most times when you get things off of a rack, they aren't the right size. So is there a percent of like, if somebody's going to like make an investment in a wardrobe of like at least 50% of my wardrobe, I know will need to probably be tailored depending upon the piece?
Actually, so it's really high. So 90% of what you find in stores does not fit off the rack perfectly, more often than not. So there's always like little alterations that can be done, whether it's a sleeve that can be taken in, shoulders that can be like taken up a little bit, especially for those that have sloped shoulders or more of a triangle body type. Like for a lot of women, most of the time the shoulders be taken in. Everything can do with a little nip and tuck here and there to perfect it for your body type, because all women know, and men, none of us look alike. All of us have different bust sizes, waist sizes, leg sizes, all the things, different heights, everything. And so that needs some custom attention. We can't go to a store and expect everything to fit just so for us, because every store is trying to fit the most mass amount of consumers that they can. And so they just try their best to create a very general silhouette. And so you'll have to tailor things according to that, which I know is a little bit more expensive, but it also gets people to be a little bit more intentional with the purchases that they are making. And so again, and if you're looking at every purchase and thinking, okay, how can I style this at least 3 ways? That intentionality comes back into things. And so our closet becomes more expansive as a result, even if that initial thought process feels a little bit more time consuming to start. It does become natural.
I will tell you firsthand that altered clothing is actually extremely important to understand because of the wear factor on the clothing. If the clothing doesn't fit you correctly, it wears out faster because it wears out in areas where the designer wasn't expecting it to wear out. Case in point, men, if your pants don't fit correctly, if they don't fit correctly in the crouch or the crotch or by your butt, they will wear out fast. So the guys out there that have the inseams of their pants wear out nonstop, and you know where that is, the guys that have this happen, it's the triangle that sits right on the inside of your thigh, slightly back towards your buttocks. That wears out all the time. And the reason why is because it doesn't fit right in your, what they call crouch or crotch area, and it doesn't fit right on your waist. Therefore, it wears out. So when you're spending $100 on a pair of jeans, or even 40 or 50, which doesn't really exist anymore, they wear out fast. But if they fit properly and they're tailored a little bit, they actually last years
100%.
Instead of just blowing themselves out. And it happens all the time. I've personally have it happen all the time with pants that don't fit right. And I know that because I don't have a butt. So I need to have my pants up a little bit higher. They need to fit higher on my waist. Like, these are all steps that need to be taken, but it's worth the $15 to $20 you're going to put into that garment, sometimes $30, to possibly get the waist altered and or the leg length, and have that pair of pants last 1.5 to 2 years, if not longer. Like, no brainer.
100%. And this is always a struggle between consumer and brand as well, is that most men and women's pants or skirts should actually have a lining in it. The lining's purpose was not only to deal with different like body heat temperatures if it were silk, but also just to remove some of that friction wearing on the fabric itself. And so, not that you won't have outside like sources from wear and tear, but if you've got a lining at least to protect things around the garment in full, which a lot of things don't come with anymore, even some of the more elevated expensive brands, which is a shame, it will slow that process of wear and tear. And so depending on what you find, what the initial investment was, because there's a balance with this, of course, but if you find something that was an investment piece for you, it fits like a glove, you're gonna alter it anyway. I would also recommend considering taking the one step further and also inserting a lining if there's not one there, because again, it will extend that lifeline of that piece like exponentially.
Or take that lining and maybe bring it up a notch to express your personality, like this right here. So Julie loves animal prints and prints. Well, this is a basic,
This
pretty,
is the blazer that
very
we went and
elegant
we got,
blazer.
and it was really pretty. But then you pulled out my scarves that I hadn't worn in ages, and I actually had my tailor put them on. So then I always have like my pop-up personality.
I love
and
that.
then they're on the inside of the sleeve, so it can come out. Or like I'll do it with like my sleeves here. They roll back. That's all the point in this. And the biggest point of all of this conversation with Christie is to bring back is like Christie does. Is she rises through style. It's fashion translated. She uses fashion as a tool. It's a tool, just like currency, just like money, everything. It's a tool to get from point A to point B, to get what you want, work with who you want, and figure out how you want to get there. Your clothing is a tool, and it's not to be manipulative, but the point of it is to be able to drive conversation and represent and be your best at all times, depending on what you want out of that situation. It's extremely important. Hence, if I sit down and do a report of findings with a patient, I'm not going to sit in there and talk to them in a t-shirt. I'm actually going to put on a jacket. The reason why is because I want to be able to express myself in the way that this is a very important conversation. It's not laid back. It's not simple. This is about your health, and this is a proper and could be very expensive healthcare decision. I don't want to sit there and talk to you in a t-shirt or a pair of ratty jeans or barefoot, for God's sakes. Like, I want this to come across as a very important conversation because it's very important for both the patient, the child, financially, physically, mentally, and emotionally. And this has been awesome. So yes, fashion is a tool. The way you dress is a tool. Christie, you are amazing.
Oh, sorry, you guys. I just love you to pieces. You guys are the best.
We love you too. For full transparency here, y'all, we have known Christie for well over 15 years.
Isn't that
And
crazy?
we have personally had the chance of watching both of us, Julie and I and Christie, continue to rise and continue to build our businesses, build our brands, but more importantly, affect the world in a very, very positive light. And if you can't feel that this woman from Canada and the area that she is in around the Toronto area exudes this massive ball of energy and light, then you don't have a pulse, because she is absolutely amazing and phenomenal. Dr. Julie, what was I gave you that gift of having Christie here, and it was such a momentous thing for me because I had waited years to be able to have her come down, and it was so awesome to be able to give that to you, to have her here. What was it like for you though?
I think I alluded to it in the beginning. It was a little overwhelming because, like
there
I
is
said,
such thing as a shopping hangover.
My closet was full of things. And so Christie was gracious that we went through my closet. We got rid of many things, but then she was able to actually see in my closet to see the things that I needed. I needed the basics. Mm-hmm. And so she had done her homework before she even came and knew the places to shop, in our location. And then we went to the store and tried on more and more clothes. And then it was kind of like, mine was like, but now that I get these things, I still don't know how to put it together. And she's like, don't worry. So we come back to the closet and Christie puts everything back together. So after that, it's really nice. So like every morning that I will basically pull open my app that you have, and my outfit's all right there. So it just, for me, I am a no nonsense. Like, I want to be able to get up and go in the morning. Yeah. Very minimal in that. But now I can at least, instead of standing in my closet saying I have nothing to wear, I can just be like, okay, those two things go together. Perfect.
I love that. So good. And you were such a trooper, because normally those sessions get spread out over a period of time with someone. We did them all in 3 or 4 days.
3 days.
So you were a rock star to do that so fast.
And you can totally see the pictures of her, like in the beginning, and then near the end, she's just like, because changing and going through clothing. And it was amazing the amount
I'd say probably at least 1,000 different outfits.
The amount of clutter that was there. And that's another reason too, I look at it this way. When you walk into a movie theater and every seat is open, it's very hard to choose a seat. Mm-hmm. But if you walk into a theater and only 3 are open, you have 3 decisions. That's it. Or 2 decisions. It's the same thing in your outfits and in your wardrobes. And if you want to clear the clutter in your head of actually dreading walking into your closet every day, declutter it, change it, bring in the stuff that's classics, add a pop of color, look amazing, but then declutter your brain because you decluttered your closet.
100%. And the other thing too that people forget is that in order to receive anything new in our life, we have to release the old first. And step into that new identity, the new style, the new anything, while still clinging to the past version of yourself. And so I know that can feel scary, because some women say to me, well, what do you mean? Because if I get rid of what I don't like, there's going to be nothing left. But the reality is, you're still working with the same amount of clothing you are right now. You're just going to physically see it for what it is. And that can feel both alarming and refreshing at the same time. And so create a vision for yourself to give yourself some clarity about ultimately what it is that you're striving for. And then just take baby steps. No one's asking you to burn your closet to the ground and start fresh. Like, just little doses at a time can make such a huge impact in how you feel. But the first step has to come from that release. If you're ready to receive the new identity, the new style, the new everything, you got to draw a line in the sand in order to start that new beginning. So the release part, to what Skip was saying, is essential.
I love this. This is so much different than our first interview. Like, we could talk for hours and days. So Christie, what is the best way for our viewers to get a hold of you? what are some ways for them to stay in contact with you? Because the stuff that you drop on Instagram and on social media is absolutely priceless. And the knowledge you put out is just amazing, from color analysis to fitting your right color to making yourself give you the best energy you can from your clothing. How do they find you and stay in touch with your beautiful mind?
So they can either come to my podcast, which is Rise Through Style. I also have my Instagram, which is my name, Christie Ressel. And I'm kind of on all the social media platforms though. So if you just type in my name, you will certainly find me. And I've got things on YouTube as well that you can have a search. And I've got lots of fashion videos there for people.
You have hours of material on YouTube and capsules and all sorts of things.
I'm on all those social media. Just type my name in and you'll find me. I'll pop up.
And that's Christie with a CH, and that's STIE, and then it's Ressel, RESSEL. Christie, this has been an absolute pleasure as usual. I love seeing you. You make me smile so big. I think you're one of the other women in my life that makes me smile just as big as my wife does. So Christie, please, please, please take care. It's been an absolute honor. Is there anything else you'd like to say to Christie?
No, thank you so much.
Oh, you guys are such a pleasure. I just love you so much. I'm just sending you so much love over the airways. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Well, this has been awesome. So everybody take care. Now go out there, get it done. Take care, everybody. Bye.